Unit 4, Skills Test, Listening. You will hear 3 conversations. For questions 1 to 6, choose the answer A, B or C which fits best according to what you hear. There are 2 questions for each extract. Extract 1. You hear a man and a woman talking about leisure activities.
As a teenager, whenever I played a game on my computer, my mother used to say, "Don't you have something better to do?" She would get pretty wound up about it because she thought it wasn't healthy, but she didn't have any problems with me spending hours and hours reading a book.
I can see why, especially when it's online and people can pretend to be someone your own age. That can be worrying. But don't you think it is a waste of time? You can learn a great deal through reading.
True, but I do think I benefited from it. I enjoy it because I can escape into a virtual world where I can venture around. Also, I can lose myself, like I do in a good story, and relieve stress. But the most important thing is that I can use my imagination. It's not handed to me on a plate.
That's why you can easily get obsessed with it. You wouldn't see people reading a book at a party, would you? But when people play games, they kind of lose control and play everywhere, even at a party. It seems they do prefer it to socializing with others, and they don't see it as a problem.
I see your point. I suppose it happens because games are goal-orientated. You set out to achieve something, and you know how far you are from it, so you want to carry on playing to get there. That's why you get hooked.
There you are, but I guess it explains why it can be far more engaging than reading a book.
Extract 2. You hear a radio conversation between 2 psychologists about an experiment called The Machine to Be Another.
Have you read about the Machine to Be Another experiment? The research that I'm interested in is the one conducted by a Danish university. Basically, it shows you the world from another person's perspective. It involves 2 people wearing cameras and headsets to synchronize movements and swap bodies. I had a go and found the setup quite simple. It can be used to promote a range of things, such as tolerance and understanding. But what the Danish team focused on, which I find will revolutionize the industry, was the care system. They wanted to learn more about the experiences of patients in order to design things that meet their needs.
I haven't read the article about the Danish experiment, but I am familiar with the work of Be Another Lab. What they suggested was similar, that being somebody else would give insights into how that person feels. It allows you to look at things from a different perspective.
When I tried it, I didn't really know what to expect at first. Seeing things through someone else's eyes is one thing, but being able to sense things at the same time, that is the key to making it completely believable. And that was when I began to freak out.
It isn't a new concept. I mean, virtually being somewhere that you're not. But as you said, that sensory element and moving from a one-dimensional experience to a three-dimensional one makes a difference. It tricks your brain. It's really incredible. I can't get my head round it.
Indeed, it's very powerful and completely mind-boggling. It can be adapted and expanded on. It will open the door to endless possibilities when it's ready.
Extract 3. You hear a conversation about 19th century British writers.
Did you know that all 3 Bronte sisters, who are synonymous with romance in one way or another, wrote under male pseudonyms, Currer, Ellis and Acton Bell?
Yes. Apparently, at the time there was a lot of speculation on the gender of the Bells, until they released a notice revealing their identities and explaining the reason, that their style of writing wasn't very feminine.
I'm not convinced that's why they did it, though. I think, being female writers, they didn't want to expose themselves to the prejudice that critics showed towards female writers at that time. Would their books have been received differently?
Well, that's quite possible. What fascinates me most is how they came to choose those names. There's not much information about it, though, but I read somewhere that it's very likely that Charlotte and Anne got their first names from the names of two successful and influential female figures of the time, Mary Currer and Eliza Acton.
Yes, they must have put a lot of thought into it. I'm not surprised because Eliza was a very well-known poet and writer. She could have influenced them. Did you know that she wrote one of Britain's first cookbooks? Word has it that there was no demand for poetry, so she decided to do something for which the world had a need, and apparently that topic was cooking.
Oh, that's amazing. I had absolutely no idea she wrote a cookbook. I suppose it was very successful.
Indeed, which shows she did the right thing.